everybody to an all-new episode of GVN Review. This is a spoiler review of Cruella. Me and Tia got a early look at the movie. I'm gonna have fun breaking this down. Tia, I know you weren't as high on it, so um, my issues. We can get right into it. My issues with Cruella were more the fundamental differences that or the fundamental changes it decided to make. But I want to start off with what I loved about it. Glenn Close was a powerhouse. Obviously the dogs didn't talk in the movie, so you're depending a lot on Cruella and the other characters to carry it. This just Emma was really good as Cruella. I felt as though there was some point she might have been kind of hammering it home a little bit too much, because she doesn't really have an accent, really. So it's like she kind of put a little bit too much on it at certain points. But I really did love this movie. I love seeing the rise of Cruella DeVille. Obviously it was a name she had earned and fully earned by the end of the movie. I love Jasper and Horace, I believe were their names. Her two like pretty much brothers. I love that in her ascension, you saw what happens to all villains. They felt as though life was more about them than it was about the team. So like I said, I really, really, really enjoyed everything about it. I loved the twist. I didn't even know Mark Strong was in this movie. So it was something I had learned while watching it. And I was just like, all right, you sold me there. I love Mark Strong. So I really did thoroughly enjoy this. I'll go into detail with questions and stuff later. I want to hear your thoughts on Cruella.
Well, first of all, I want to say I love your background. Very nice.
Thank you. I tried to make it so like it looked like I was wearing the wig, but
okay.
Now
I want you. Now I want you to get a wig, and when we go to New York Comic Con, you cosplay as Cruella.
Yeah, I'll be Cruella. I would love that actually.
With the big coat too. You gotta have like that big fur coat that she has in the 101 Dalmatians movie.
Okay, I could do that.
Yeah,
I could do it with the little long
that's
cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I could do that. I 100% do that. Let's see if I can get Joel to be the Dalmatian. So he'll be okay with that.
Last review you and I did was on GTA 5, and we talked about how you wanted to be a biker after watching Sons of Anarchy and playing, and we said that we'd get you a leather jacket. So it's like every single review, we're just going to see what we can get you to cosplay as. I mean, I felt bad because you and Dom really liked it. I don't know if you read Dom's review on Cruella. Like, both of you guys seem to really enjoy it. And it's like, I guess for me, let me not start negatively. Let me start with the things that I did like about this movie. I love the soundtrack, first of all.
Yes.
I was very surprised about that. It was a very good soundtrack. Aesthetically, it was a really cool looking movie. It was very edgy. I liked the idea of it taking place within a 1960s, 1970s, very psychedelic London, very fashionable. Because I wasn't really sure what we were going to get with this movie. I didn't really get what we were going to get from the trailer. So watching it, I was like just seeing it unfold. So I did like those things. And as you said, Glenn Close is a powerhouse, but when isn't she? I mean, you put Glenn Close in your movie, it's going to be very enjoyable. I think my biggest negative really about this movie is it did what. Did you watch Ratched on Netflix?
No.
Okay. Have you ever seen the old movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
No.
Okay. So let me. I'm just gonna quickly explain this. So like there was the movie One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest back in the 70s. There was this really bad nurse in it. Her name was Nurse Ratched. She was like the villain of it, right? And you hated her. And then last year Netflix decided to make a prequel series about Ratched, and Sarah Paulson played her. And, to me, that show, just like this movie,
Wait,
was
was that the lady that was ripping off old people?
no, she wasn't. She wasn't ripping off old people. She was like a nurse actually killing the people that she was supposed to be taking care of in a psych ward.
I do know what you're talking. I didn't see it, but now I do know what you're talking about. Okay, I do know what you're talking
Okay. So, like, the series, just like this movie, takes a character that you very much disliked in a movie and said, I'm not really going to care too much about source material or even connecting that she becomes. And I think Cruella does it better than Ratched does, because at the end of Ratched, you were like, I don't see at all how this person becomes this person. So Cruella obviously did a better job, but I don't know, it felt like Disney was trying to do their own Harley Quinn, and I've seen a few people like say that as well. It just felt like Harley Quinn meets Devil Wears Prada, and it didn't capture me the way that others, it captured them. So I don't know. And Emma Stone's accent was terrible. Her English accent was as bad as Benedict Cumberbatch's American accent.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think she put a little bit too much extra on it that she didn't need to. But Benedict, that's horrible. Like that's it's bad. It's bad. But to me, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. Like, to me, if you don't have an accent, Cruella Deville to me doesn't need it. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been upset if you. Did Glenn Closest have an accent?
Well, not just that, did the original Cruella have an accent?
I don't.
Now I
I mean, because they decided to make it like London, England kind of thing. I don't think that was the case for with 101 Dalmatians. I think that was in New York.
Yeah, so but that's another thing. So where did the choice to have Emma Stone isn't English, right?
Right.
She's American, so why not just have her speak regularly? I'm just saying I don't know where that um, decision came
I don't either. I don't either. It wasn't even like a clever one to do. It was just weird. It was like, why did you like? I
in.
mean, everybody. And here's the crazier thing, right? When I'm trying to see her step, not stepmom, the lady that actually let me. I brought it up, so I would not do that because I do not want to do that. Catherine, who was the maid that watched over her, that took her.
Yeah.
Emily Beecham does have an accent.
Okay.
Again, they were in the London of things, and you assume the Dutch, because I assume he was, or the Baron. Sorry, the Baron. The Baron, I assume had one. We only heard him speak very, very shortly, if that.
But it's yeah.
But the Baroness didn't have one, so it was just like, how
Yeah,
did
it was just weird. My only thing that I can think of is that they wanted to capture the very London fashion scene. Maybe they just felt that it would work better in London than it would in New York.
I don't know. I don't know. To me, it could be in London because, yeah, it could be in London. But to me, why she didn't have to speak? I don't know. 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 But that wasn't one of my issues. I think one of my bigger issues was they did in this movie what I said is my issue of doing a Joker movie, doing a Venom movie. You're doing a movie about a bad guy, which means the good guy that we know has to be the antagonist because they're the protagonists, right?
Right.
So they made the 101 Dalmatians to be the bad guy. And it was
Yeah.
just like, wait, how do you have me rooting against the Dalmatians? Aren't we supposed to love the Dalmatians? Because in the animated movie, she goes on to hate these dogs and make coats out of these dogs. It's like,
I mean, she is a animal murderer.
right. And well, let me not speak for everyone, but I left this going, damn, I really love Cruella. Like, I can't wait to see more. Yeah, I thought about it, and I was just like, wait a minute. I don't think the animated movies ever made me like Cruella. Like, and then I thought about it, I was like, no, the dogs were the good guys, and she was the bad guy. So I'm like,
I
I don't know. I don't know. That was a weird flip for me. It was.
and I will say, like, you know, whatchamacallit, I did. It's so funny. I will say this. I had a review written up,
Mhm.
and then we decided to go with Dom's because obviously Dom's was more positive and everything. And in my review, I said it is possible to do these sort of prequels with these villains. I quite liked Maleficent because I felt that Maleficent was good enough of a prequel slash retelling of the story of this character from Sleeping Beauty. So it's like I'm okay with creative, like taking creative leaps, like Maleficent did in showing her as maybe more of a good character than a bad. But just for me personally, this didn't work as much. But I did hear that the people behind Cruella are very interested, especially Emma Stone, in making a second one. So who knows?
I would love it. To me, it was a great story. I'm a huge Oceans fan, and this felt like Oceans. This felt like Cruella meets Oceans, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved her. I call them her brothers, but they're really her henchmen in the cartoons. I actually think they're called the henchmen. They have some weird name that they're actually called. But I loved it. I really did love everything about this movie, and I went into it going because I loved the trailer. I remember putting when we had posted on Twitter, I was just like, man, I'm sold. Like this is good. Um, and as I'm watching it, I loved her as a little girl. I loved how feisty she was as a little girl. I loved that.
That was fun.
I had so much fun with that. The little girl nailed the accent, so she's clearly of that accent. I don't think she had to learn that. The weirdest thing about Emma's accent being bad is she dated Andrew Garfield for the longest.
That's her. That was she was like in her head. She probably because we always hear our voices different than they actually sound. So in her head, she's like, "I'm nailing this right now," and it's like, no,
it
you didn't.
wasn't even, and I don't want to. For me, I don't want to stay on her accent, but like I said, it was just the idea of I would just like to know why they decided to give her an accent. Like how necessary was that?
Yeah,
But I want to ask you this question. I want to go into favorite characters. I'm gonna kick it off with my favorite character. Obviously, I'm taking Cruella out of it because clearly I love Cruella. I love Artie. I loved Artie. I love Artie the designer. I loved
yeah,
at the end when she's like, "I have a plan," and he's like, "Ooh," and she's like, "I'm paraphrasing here." She's like, "There's gonna be some trouble. There's gonna be some danger, and someone might die." And he's like, "Ugh, no," on the last part, and she's like, "You won't die," and he's like, "I'm in." I loved Artie's attitude. Artie to me was just. I can't wait to see a second one to see his character kind of be explored a little bit more. I loved Artie. So I'm going Artie and Jasper and Horace. Those are my three. I really love them. Jasper loves her. And the thing that I kept feeling weird about was I wasn't sure if that was just like a brotherly overprotective kind of vibe or if he because obviously they're not related. So like if
right.
he did love her, it's not weird or anything. It's only weird if she goes, "Wow, I always thought you were a brother." And he's like, "Man,
You're
uh,
like a brother to me, and it's like,
right." So I wasn't
ugh.
sure how Cruella felt about him, but it was very clear how much he loved her. Because Horace was just like, "Yeah, man, all right, she wants to kidnap dogs, whatever." And Jess was just like, "No, man, you can't let her turn into Cruella. Like we gotta harness who she really is." So those three characters were the ones that stood out to me the most. I love them. I can't wait to see more of them because they didn't really come off like henchmen. It really was like a team, and I like that. I like when you take henchmen and you make them more like a family, like a team. So I don't have to worry about the always like go do this and risk your life, and if you die, who cares? Like, no, I would like it to be like if something happened to Jasper, she would spiral out of control. So I really did like those three characters. Were there any characters that stood out to you that you enjoyed?
So which, because forgive me about this, um, which one is the actor who was also in I, Tonya? Paul something, I forget his name.
Paul.
Was that,
Paul Walter Hauser. Yeah, he was
yeah,
horrible.
Horace? I liked it just because I like him in everything. He's one of those actors who I feel doesn't get talked about enough, which is bad because I couldn't remember his full name, but I know that everything I see him in, I'm like, I really enjoy him. So I did like that. I will say the scene that I did like was in the beginning with Jasper and Forrest bringing in Cruella, and they're like, "We have to have a girl in the group and everything." All right, I guess we'll have her and everything. So I mean, they did sell this nice like ragtag team and everything, and I will say that. And this is where I say like this was more to me Devil Meets Prada than really Cruella. Is Cruella waking up drunk in the display case, having like spray painted over everything, and Jasper and Horace just see her and they're like, "That's Cruella." You know? I did enjoy that. So I did like those two characters, Jasper and Horace. I mean, that dynamic was fine. I guess in my mind, I just kept thinking of like she's the villain of 101 Dalmatians. Like I wish this was almost a separate story of its own, an original, so that I could have enjoyed it more. And of course, as a dog lover, I did love the little Chihuahua dog. He was very cute.
I mean, but they did. I will say they did make sure to like Joker at no point hammered home the idea that he's a sociopathic murderer, right?
Yeah,
Made you feel sorry for him. So it was like, oh well, when he killed the guy on TV, it's because he was making fun of him, and you know, it's like, oh well, like I get it. He wasn't just doing it to kill him, and it's like, well, no, because now you've stripped everything that the Joker is. I should
right.
never feel like, oh man, I feel so sorry for the guy that just blew up a children's hospital for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's
Yeah,
it. But this, it really did showcase to you how evil Cruella can be. And the thing that speaks to me the most is it's a journey. So clearly there will be something that happens in her in the course of her life that, because remember, in the animated movie, Cruella is old. That's not a young
yes.
Cruella. That's a very old Cruella. She was actually probably the age that the Baroness is in this movie. So this is a 20, 30 something year old Estella Cruella. So to me, it's like a very early on one makes sense of, you know, she's just figuring life out and she'll grow more into the villainous side of her. But she drove through the prison. Like, like she showcased villainy. So to me, it's just the idea of it was never like, oh man, she's the good guy. It was definitely
Yeah.
more so a bad guy taking down a badder guy. So that's where I feel like the difference is really with like Venom never seemed like a bad guy. Venom seemed like a
No,
good guy the entire time. But Venom's not a good guy. Well, he's not always a good guy. So that's where I kind of make it different. So to me, I thought you nailed it. I thought you nailed it with the idea of teetering on she's doing it for the right reasons, but only to her. But there are certain lines that she does not mind crossing to get the job done. And that's where the villainy starts to peek through. So I'm like, yeah, this movie doesn't need a trilogy, but a sequel to really kind of elevate her villainy would be awesome, you know?
something happens along the way that really pushes her to be more of this like spinster sort of bitter woman who is just there's nothing redeemable about her. I can see that. Maybe I just need to go back and rewatch it. This was my first watch opinion, and I have certainly changed my opinions on movies after a second watch.
Mhm.
So maybe I just have to go back and do that. But I mean, aesthetically, the movie was really cool. And if you are someone who enjoys fashion, you're going to really love this movie because some of Emma's looks were like so good.
Yeah, I will say I watch with my aunt sometimes. Whatever the show is that Heidi Klum used to do, the fashion
Oh yeah, Project
project run,
Runway, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah,
runway,
yeah.
and then I think Ashley Graham took over, or she does a whole nother show. My aunt loves all those fashion shows, so I'm used to watching these fashion shows. I was watching it, just going like, I'm not gonna say it out loud, but I really like these looks. Like they're really looks. The garbage truck one was all right. So that's my next question. What was your favorite look? The garbage can one, garbage truck one was my favorite. I think it was the one where there's a whole bunch of garbage. Was this long dress that she had? I love that because that's really putting some brain power together. So that was the one that I loved the most. Which look stood out to you?
I mean, I don't really have a particular one. I think that they were all good personally, so none of them really stood out as like this is the best one. I just remember sitting there going, you know what, that's really creative. I could probably never pull any of those off.
I was thinking, could I like I was thinking about when she walked into the ball and then dropped the match and then it burned off.
Yeah, that was like
I was just like, I think I could do that at New York Comic Con, and not set myself on fire. I think I
and
could.
not sit yourself up.
Uh,
You would speaking by the way, really quick, speaking of like Project Runway, if you want to see some crazy outfits, I mean, check out any season of RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, some of the drag queens on that show, what they come up with, it's like holy shit. So, I can appreciate fashion. Myself, I'm not very fashionable. My mom back in the my mom back in the day, so okay, you used to watch Project Runway. I'm assuming you know back in the day there was this show on TLC called What Not to Wear. No? Okay. Really quick, it was a show where the family or the friends of someone nominated this person. They were like, I love this person, but their fashion is crap. And so these two like fashion people would come essentially like kidnap, not really kidnap, but like take them out from wherever they are and say, okay, next few days we're going to teach you what to wear. We're going to go through your closet. We're literally going to throw everything away. We're going to show you what works and what doesn't. And at the end of it, we're going to give you like $5,000 so you can redo your whole wardrobe. And my mom used to say, I'm going to nominate you for what not to wear. So I clearly don't have very
wow.
good
Okay.
fashion.
Wow. All right. Yeah. That's. It's like okay. I read you loud and clear. Like you don't have to say anything else. I
Not
get.
the same thing.
No. I mean, I've never been a fan of fashion. To me, clothes are clothes. There are people that would, and I'm not trying to go deep here, but there are people that would love clothes. So to me, it's the idea of I'm not spending $500 on a t-shirt that I'll probably wear once or
Thank
twice.
you.
Uh,
But I
I,
bet you Cruella would.
Cruella 100% would. But I don't know. I've never been that kid. Like my brother and my sister, they're very much like that. They'll spend like $200 on shoes or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't get it. But then in the same vein, AJ will show me a statue of Batman that's like $1,000, and I'm just like, I'm gonna buy that.
I
Like, so I
it
get it.
used to be like it used to be back in the day where my mom, when you're a teenager, my mom's like, all right, Tia, you're going out with your friends to the mall. Here's a little bit of money. Don't spend it on CDs or DVDs. And what do? I go right to Best Buy and and she's like, I gave that to you to get clothes. And I'm like, nah, I don't want
I don't want
clothes.
it. I don't. I was definitely that kid when, and that's why I told my mom as I got older that if anyone's giving me gifts for Christmas that are clothes, don't have them make me open it in front of them. I can't. I'm not a fake person.
Oh,
I'll open it.
the
Yeah,
fake,
I'll open it and just go. No, I never could do that. So I would open it and just go, all right, thank you, and then they would just go, you like it? No, like I specifically asked you for toys and you gave me this. I don't
I
know.
will say really quick, I know this isn't the point of the podcast, but it's just a funny thing. I feel you. Like I could never fake when I was a kid getting excited for clothes. But now for Christmas, all my mom gets me are clothes, and I'm really happy because I'm like, oh, thank God, I have nothing. I live, I
Yeah,
don't live at
now I'm
home.
just
I
like,
have no clothes. Get me
yeah, now
clothes.
I'm just like, the reason now I enjoy people buying clothes for me are, it's the idea of, I I don't know fashion. So it's like, if you buy me something that looks really nice, cool. And it leaves me all this money for other stuff that I actually want, and you just get me stuff that I need. So I'm like, boom, win-win, works for me. I do want to ask you about this. I was talking to Joelle a little bit about it after our podcast yesterday. The twist. It was not a twist I saw coming. I thought the twist was gonna be Mark Strong's character was gonna like end up being her dad. You know that
Right.
that had to leave her for whatever the reason be. So I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, okay, like when they said, oh, the Baroness was her actual mom, I was just like, I did not see this. Like, what? How did I miss this completely? Like, did you see that coming, or did that catch you off guard a little bit?
I didn't see it coming. And see that I guess that's where we like differ a little because when I that twist happened, I was more so like, oh, of course they kind of went that route. And I feel bad because I like again, you're so positive about it. I don't want to like ruin the positivity, but I think for me, I was like, oh, okay, they went there and everything. But as you said, I did think that they were going to go in the direction that Mark Strong was her father. So in that sense, that definitely did surprise me that they didn't do that.
Right. Yeah, no, it completely caught me off guard. But like I said, at the end, I was just like, yeah, I mean, I guess it does make sense. Her mom did always tell her, like, be Estella, not Cruella.
Cruella.
And kept seeing how nice the mom is. So it was just like, where the hell did she get this mean streak from? Like, her mom is so nice. Like, that's why I said we never saw her dad. So I'm like, you know, I think his name is John the valet, or it's probably some French pronunciation of it. But John, we'll just John. That's why I said, oh, John's her dad. Like, she was going there to talk to her dad, like, hey, you deadbeat, give me money, blah blah blah. So when it came out, he wasn't. I was just like, all right, yeah, you got me. I didn't see that coming.
Were you shocked, by the way, at the beginning when Cruella's mother was killed? I mean, I was shocked by that. I was like, in that sense, then I did feel bad for her because even though she was like a little shit of a kid, still
Mm.
don't want the kid. You don't want the kid to still lose their parent. So I felt really bad about that.
Yeah, Disney loves killing parents off.
They
Uh,
do. It's their thing.
Disney does not like to have children grow up with parents.
No,
Um,
they're like, that doesn't make for character development.
not at all, because you can't get good people to come from happy homes. You got to split it up.
No, they have to suffer a little.
Right, of course. At the the worst kind of struggle or the worst kind of tragedy. But I will say her dying isn't what shocked me. It was that the dogs are what killed her. The dogs are what killed her. So I said to myself, okay, this is why she hates the Dalmatians. I get it. Perfect. That's a great way to set it up. You did it
Yeah.
early. Boom, done. I get it. And then the end of the movie comes, and she has the three dogs that essentially killed the woman who raised her, and she's like showing them love. And it's just like, I don't,
It's almost like Michonne with the zombies. It's like
yeah,
take you know
yeah. It's
take what could kill you and I don't know use them for yourself or something.
it's weird. Like, I mean, I guess the point they were trying to make was the dogs didn't really kill her. It was at the, it was obviously the owner forcing them to. They were just, defending the owner. But it still was weird because the whole point is her to hate the Dalmatians. So if
Yeah.
she's housing them, it's just like, I don't get it. What are you guys doing? What is?
Which is very, though, I will say, and if there's anyone out there, like, I'm a dog lover too, so if there's anyone out there who's an extreme dog lover, like, don't, this is just what I've heard. But 101 Dalmatians makes you really love Dalmatians. You're like, man, I want a freaking Dalmatian. They're not the nicest of dogs. They're actually one of the breeds that are pretty nasty. So it is interesting that the movie went in that direction. More realistic, I guess I would say.
Probably trying to drive sales of Dalmatian dogs because they couldn't sell them. Just make a movie and
Oh,
love them. So
over the years, people got Dalmatians because of the first movie. Then they're like, "Oh shit,
they're
these
like,
guys
these
are
are
assholes."
horrible. Yeah, no one buy these dogs.
Really
Yeah,
quick.
that was. Oh no, go ahead.
No, no, again, I'm just full of personal stories for you today, Joanne. When I grew up, the block I grew up on, you had to pass this one home, and they were fenced in, and they had two big Dalmatians. Those were like the snarliest, angriest mother effers you've ever seen. You were like scared running by. So I'm just saying that, Dalmatians, they weren't nice dogs.
Yeah, I feel like everyone, well, most of the people that I know have dog stories. I've never encountered a dog like that. Like, been chased by a dog, seen a dog in the neighborhood that's like, that's an asshole dog. Like, I've never seen that. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, any dogs I've ever had or been around, all been pretty chill. They'll bark, and then I learned at a young age, like, their barking is the equivalent of us talking. So, like, when
Yeah.
people go, shut up with all that barking, it's like, well, maybe you shut up with all that talking. Like, probably what the dog feels when he has to listen to his owner talk all day. It's like, dude, shut up. Like,
Well, dogs can tell when a person is good, so that's a very good thing that understand that about dogs.
yeah. I mean, it used to be annoying because I mean, it's the equivalent of just hearing a baby cry because it's like ultimately you can't ask them what's wrong, right? It's like a dog can't go, oh man, the day I had today, sit down. Like, no, so they'll just bark certain times, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's the idea of you realizing that's all they can do. That's it. They can't, like, what do you want them to write you a note? Like, they can't do anything else. So once I kind of got through that, it was just kind of like, all right, as long as you don't bite me, we're cool. That was it. So never had a dog be aggressive towards me. I had a dog snap at me, and then I did this, and then like I'd never had that problem again. Like, I think we had a mutual understanding of like whatever I did, I won't do it again. But don't you snap at me like that. Like, I don't play that. But yeah, no, this movie did make me want to go buy a dog. I'll say that for sure. I definitely wanted to go buy a dog.
Did you really, after that, you were like, you know what? I want to go out and get myself a dog.
I thought that, and then I thought that's a lot of responsibility. I'd have to walk it, and I get lazy a lot, and I would just definitely say, if you want, you can just pee on the floor here. I don't want to. It's okay. It's all right. I'll clean it up later. I don't want to get up. Yeah. Then a dog would force me to somewhat exercise, and I don't want any of that. That sounds just awful. But to bring it back to Cruella, last thing I wanted to ask you, were there any scenes that stood out to you, like any favorite scenes of yours?
Yeah, again, I did enjoy kind of that montage scene that was in between her being a little kid to her being older. When she had the red hair, and it's again that bridge between those two timelines. And I did kind of like seeing her as a bit of this mess. She's getting garbage all over her, which, oh my God, just could be a callback. Her garbage outfit, the time that she got. Okay, okay, there you go, there you go.
You're already liking it more than you did yesterday.
I did not
Um,
like it yesterday at all, but I like that. And again, I did like the scene where she gets drunk and again she wakes up and she's in front of that display. Like, can you just imagine? Have you ever been to New York City when they have like the display during Christmas time? They do this like big window. They do this big window thing on Saks Fifth Ave, right? Where like every shop is this really nice, magnificent display during Christmas and everything. Can you imagine like the shop owner and it's like, ah, we have, people already gathering to see, and it's like whatever the hell she did. So I have to say I did enjoy that. And again, Jasper and Jasper and Horace just not being like surprised at all. They're like, oh, there she is.
No shocker here.
No shocker. But what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene would probably be. It's so tough because I like so much of this. I did enjoy that the Superman effect did not work on the Baroness. So at some point, the Baroness did say to herself, Estella is never here when Cruella is. Why is that? And then she started putting the pieces together, and she was like, Estella's Cruella. Why didn't I know this at the beginning?
It's in the freaking name, Estella Cruella.
I mean, it's just like you see the vision, like you see how smart Estella is as a as a oh man, what do you call them? A stylist. And it's like
Right.
you're seeing how Cruella is as like just certain things have to like start to line up here. So I did love it when she finally figured it out and was just like and my other favorite scene, because I have a bunch, so I'll just limit it to two, would have to be the first ball that she interrupts. Her coming out moment of dropping the flame on the dress. I did not like the little fight choreography of that. It was like the weirdest thing. It was just
It
like
was a little, you know,
it was
strange.
it felt Disney animation is what it felt like. And it was just like, well, you made this for adults. Don't cheesy me. Don't do that. So that I did not like, but I loved seeing Horace and what's his name trying to steal the necklace, and then
Oh my god, yeah.
the Dalmatian ends up eating it, and it's like,
That
oh, we got to kidnap these dogs now. Like we got to get that back. So I really did love that. I really did. Those are probably my two favorite scenes. But this was just such. I really did enjoy this movie, and if Disney wants to keep doing these, I'm fine with it. Just try to keep it within the same vein of what the animation was. Like Aladdin didn't feel drastically different. Lion King didn't feel drastically different. This felt different, but again, it's a different time than where the animated movies took place, or even where the original live action took place. In original live action, she was older. So this was supposed to be setting up for who she's supposed to become. So it's like, okay, I get that. So yeah, so I would definitely give this a 7.5 out of 10. I want to go 8, but there were some really cheesy scenes in there, and I can't get over the accent and the fact that she was housing the dogs at the end, the dogs that she's supposed to hate, because that's the whole premise of 100 Dalmatians or 101 Dalmatians. So that's the only reason I can't give it an 8 or an 8.5. But like I said, I loved it. I tried to get Dom on here, but he was cooking because I was just curious, some of the things that he liked, or if he had maybe some more information that you didn't have about why they went with these accents. But
it seemed that he very much enjoyed Emma from his review that he enjoyed Emma Stone's
right.
performance. And I mean, listen, this was unique for her. I'm trying to think about her filmography and trying to think if she's ever done a villain role like this, and I don't believe she has. So I mean, Emma Stone kind of seems like one of those actresses that kind of gets forgotten about every once in a while.
Sure.
People, when they think about actresses, they're like, "Oh yeah, Emma Stone." But I mean, hey, if she wants to go more in this direction, and it seems like she's very passionate about it. Did you know apparently this has been in the works for 6 years? I mean, that's pretty crazy. So she's been hooked with this whole time.
I like that. And to me, like you said, she is someone that people tend to forget about. But the only reason people tend to forget about her is she's smart. She only chooses movies that have become winners. Clearly, that's a belief you have to have before it actually comes out and then turns into a winner. But La La Land, that was a huge hit. Cruella, her doing the Spider-Man movie, super bad. So like she's been in some real
Per-
winners.
Perfect A. No, not Perfect A. I'm sorry.
Perfect
The
B.
one.
Was it Perfect B? I know what you're talking about. I know exactly
You
what
know what I'm talking about, right?
you're
She
talking
like walked around school with the A on
about.
her,
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I know
She was
exactly.
also in that really good movie. What was it? Stupid Crazy Love or something like that.
Yes, Crazy Stupid Love. Steve
That
Carell,
was such a
Ryan Gosling. I love that. She was in The Help. She was in
yeah.
Birdman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of course, Zombieland. I love me some Zombieland. Yeah, she's choosing some. I mean, then unfortunately, she's in Pop Star. Uh, but she's really chosen some winners, and you have to be proud of somebody who. It was Easy A. You said Easy A. Yeah, it was Easy A.
ETA. No, I said Perfect A for some
Oh,
reason.
oh.
So easy A. I knew there was an A in the title, but yeah. No, I mean, so as you said, she picks her roles strategically,
Mhm.
and it works out for her. So if there is a sequel, I'd be interested in it. I'm definitely gonna go back and rewatch this movie because maybe I just judged it too harshly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like people have expectations because it's based off of something. It's not its own thing. It is based off of a live action, an animation movie. And they did take some certain liberties that I'm with you that I wasn't really feeling. But overall, I loved it. By the time I got to the end of the movie, I was just like, damn, I really enjoyed this. Like, I really did.
And it is, as you said, different than what Disney has been doing with their live actions because I saw Lion King, and while I didn't hate it, it is a shot for shot remake of
Well,
the original.
except for the fact that because they have Beyonce, they put Nala in the end fight when in the
Well,
animation
yeah.
she was not part of it. It was just like,
And they needed the random song in there. I was like, that it was that in
Aladdin,
her contract.
Aladdin did that too, but I thought that was important because that movie was very much a male movie to where it was just like clearly it's just about the guys. You're just supposed to be eye candy, sit there and shut up. And it was very much of her saying, I won't sit back and shut up. Why can't I rule all of the land? Why does it have to be a guy? So I appreciated that. I just didn't like when they put Nala in that moment because it's like that moment was significant to Simba because it was him having to step up as the king and ultimately win that battle. So when she jumped in and was just like kicking ass, I was just like, oh man, why? Why?
I
Why?
will say that I will say my biggest thing quickly about that. My biggest pet peeve with that movie was that the scar with the like elephant you know graveyard wasn't as cool as it
It
was in the
wasn't.
cartoon.
It
It
wasn't.
wasn't. It
No.
wasn't. But my point is like that was pretty much a shot for shot remake. I watched some of the live action Lady and the Tramp, which also pretty much felt like a shot for shot remake. So at least Cruella was doing something creative and deciding not to really just be, oh, we're just gonna be like the animated but live action
Right. No, I'm completely with you. And like I said, different sometimes is good. Different sometimes is good. Like we said, they took liberties that I just wouldn't have. But it wasn't that bad that it made me go, what the hell am I watching? So again, very good on them. Huge congrats to that team. I believe this will be a blockbuster hit for them, whether it's their streaming numbers from Disney Plus or their box office numbers from the movie theaters. Before we get out of here, T, I have two last questions for you. The first one is, if we did not get screeners for this, would you have seen this at home or in the theaters?
now. I don't think I would have seen it at all unless it was. uh,
Well,
I may have seen it when it became free, maybe on Disney Plus, because right now I think you do have to pay a significant amount, I believe. I
50 bucks.
went today. How much?
I think it's $50.
I think I saw 29. Oh, but that was a pre-order.
Yeah.
So maybe, okay, yeah, so I don't think I would have spent that. I actually know I wouldn't have spent that, and I wouldn't have spent to go to the theater. So I would have probably waited for it to be free.
So
So,
at any point, are you going back to the theaters?
uh, I probably will go back to the theater when they play the Black Widow movie. I've said that to myself. I said that last year. I was like, come hell or high water, even if we are still in the midst of the pandemic, I will go in a bubble suit. I will go to see Black Widow in the movie theater. But yeah, and you know me, like I told you, I think last year, 2 years, 3 years, whenever we first met, um, that I really only go see movies in the theaters that are like big superhero movies. So something like Cruella wouldn't have been on my radar to go see in the theater anyway.
Yeah, I'm not going back to the theater. As as much as people want to say like, oh, it's fine, whatever. I've seen these kids clean a theater on a regular day. I've seen them sweep popcorn under the seats. I've seen them just barely brush anything. I don't I don't feel as though they're cleaning these seats as well as they should be. And
No, and people have become very lax now.
yeah,
Like things were a little bit, cleaner. Can't even talk. Cleaner, months and months and months ago. But now that people are getting vaccinated and everything, I mean, and I'm vaccinated, and I'm still like, I still don't want to go to the
yeah,
theater. I don't want to risk it like that.
to me, my biggest issue is anybody could just say they're vaccinated. Like, I don't think places are requiring you to show a card. So I could just go into a place with no mask and say, "Oh, I'm vaccinated." Okay,
Yeah, you don't
what?
know.
Like, huh? So no, I'm sorry. I don't have as much faith in humanity as some people do. So I will not be going to the theaters for Black Widow. I will be paying the money to watch it home, like I have in all these movies that have been coming out. So
I will say, okay, so let me say that, um, sometime, at least in the past, we got, invites to go in person to see these movies.
mhm.
I don't know if we're going to get an invite yet to go see Black Widow. If we do get the invite, yes, I will go to the theater. If we don't get the invite, then I'll pay for it on Disney Plus.
Okay, okay, yeah. You know what? I could respect that more because as a screener, knowing that it's attached to Disney, not just the theater itself. Knowing that I could come out of there, if I come out of there sick, I'm suing both. I'm not just suing, I'm suing Disney and the theater. So you think they would take extra precautions to make sure it's safe, right? So
Right.
in that case, maybe, sure, yeah, I'd probably do that. But also, me and Joel don't get screeners here in New Jersey because they're all in New York. So yeah, so it would never be anything that I'd have to ever worry about because I'm not in New York. Uh,
Well, I will say really quick, I did get the offer to go see this movie in the theater from Disney, and I turned it down. I said, "Can you just send me a screener? I don't feel like risking my life for."
That's fair. Were the celebs there?
Huh?
Were the celebrities there, or was this a regular
No,
screen?
no, 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 no. It was just a regular screening. If it were the case that Emma Stone would have been there, Glenn Close would have been there, then yeah, that would have been marvelous. But no, there wasn't.
Fair. I would have done the same thing then. Same thing. All right, Tia. So you had a brand new episode of Top 10 this week.
I did. We did the top 10 movies to rewatch this summer. So yeah, just a lot of fun movies if you're, hanging out at home and you're in between going out or whatever, and you feel like popping on a movie, go check it out. So yeah, I did do the top 10 movies you should rewatch this summer. I also have a new interview with one of the stars from the Netflix series Who Killed Sarah, Alejandro Nunes. So please make sure you check that out. And I think that's all. I want to say that I started watching Army of the Dead. Did you see that yet?
Opening night, 3 a.m.
Oh, what do you think of that movie?
I'm not the biggest zombie guy, so I thought it was okay. I went
Yeah.
into it going, it's gonna be probably one of those mindless movies. Everyone kept talking. Oh, I won't say much because you're still watching it, but there
Yeah.
was a certain part of it that everyone was talking about that I was just like, I guess I missed it. I have no idea what any of you are talking about, so I have to rewatch it. So I'll probably
Okay.
put that on my list sometime this weekend. But I did not hate it. I did not hate it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, so far I'm like, oh, maybe Zack Snyder just really excels at doing zombie movies because I believe that's kind of where he started.
That's where he
Uh,
started. Army
so
of the
you
Dead,
know,
I believe it was. No, not Army of the Dead. Was it Dawn of the Dead?
I think it was Dawn of the Dead.
Might have been Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, might have been Dawn of the Dead.
Um, Also, I just watched your episode with AJ where you broke down the Eternals trailer. That was very good.
Ah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said in that, I don't have any information about it. From now on, if I don't have any information about anything, I'm keeping it that way. I'm not investing my heart in anything else anymore. So Eternals is one of those things I know very little about, and I would like to keep it that way. Let the movie educate me, so that way I have no expectations. Just go in it, whatever the
I
movie.
think that honestly, that's the perfect way. That's how I live with these Marvel movies. I know nothing about them, and I come out a happier person.
Unfortunately, it's very rare that I don't have information about things that are coming out. So that's probably one of the rare ones. Like I knew everything to know about Guardians of the Galaxy when it came out. When everyone was just like a talking tree, I don't know what that is, and I was just like, oh, you guys are.
Because I believe Guardians of the Galaxy were kind of like Eternals in the sense that they weren't as well known as, say, like the other Avengers.
Not at all. Not at all. Like Guardians is something you would only know if you read the comic books. There were no other avenue to really know the Guardians. Eternals the same way. It's just the comic runs of the Eternals were just, I don't know. It was, I had so many other Batman comics to read. I'm not wasting my time on Eternals.
I do have a quick question for you before we get out of here. Emma Stone. Yes, I know she played Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man films,
Mhm.
but if you could cast her in another Marvel or DC role, what do you think she would be good at playing?
I would actually cast her as Spider Gwen.
Okay.
Yeah, I would cast her as Spider Gwen. To me, there could be other people for sure. I think it also depends on the age. Like if they do Spider Gwen and you want Gwen to be around Peter's age, Tom Holland's age, then of course not. But if Sony's doing it, because they're doing a Spider Woman, so if you wanted to do Spider Woman, Spider Gwen, Silk, and do like a female Spider Man team or Spider Woman team, yeah, I would have no issues with her, floating back in to be Spider Gwen. It'd be dope because that's how Gwen came back in the comic books after she died. She came back and then she became Spider Gwen down the line. So that's probably where I would lay my head at. But now that you said that, I'll think more about it and probably give you a better answer sometime later. But did you have anything in mind?
Not really. I probably would like to see her play a villain now at this point. Now that we see her play Cruella, see if she could sink her teeth into something villainous in the comic book world.
I'm trying to think. It's not a
You
lot.
know more than I do about this stuff, so
I'm trying to think because there's not a lot of like really dominant, prominent female villains in the Marvel world that hasn't already been utilized to a degree. I don't know. I'd have to sit on that a little bit. Think about that a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
you think about it.
I will. I will think about it, Tia. No. So make sure you guys check out the all new episode of Top 10. Make sure you check out me and AJ's GVN review of the Eternals trailer. Me and Tia's GVN review of GTA 5. That was a lot of fun. Me and Joel just shot Much Ado About Nothing. New York City is on fire with the Knicks getting their win yesterday. So we talk about that. And GVN talk will be tomorrow. We skipped out on Figure It Out this week. It was a off week for us, busy week for us. So we'll be back next week with a amazing episode. We have great topics planned for that. So I cannot wait. And Pete despises Aaron Taylor Johnson as Craven. So I cannot.
I will say really quick, we won't get into it in this one, but that was a kind of decision for me. And I like Aaron Taylor Johnson as an actor, but I was not happy about that.
Yeah, I told Pete to try to calm him down. Me and Joel said this after Venom. Sony's formula is you take characters no one cares about and you cast big names in the roles. So it brings more eyes to the picture. Because for us who know these characters, we're just like, wait, what? But for people who could care less, they go there for the names. So it's
And I
a
will say
marketing strategy, but
And I will say one last thing because I don't want to keep like, blabbing out their things. So I apologize about that. But at first I thought that was like a Disney Marvel thing. I was like, why would you do that? He's your Quicksilver. And then when I saw Sony, I'm like, it's Sony making it. Okay, that makes more sense. Of course they'd make a decision like this.
of course, good old Sony. But that's all me and Tia got for you guys on this GVN review of Cruella. It releases tomorrow. Please make sure you go out and check it out. Regardless of how I felt or Tia felt, go watch it for yourself, form your own opinion, and then come back here to our review and let us know your thoughts. But please do not let our opinion dictate you from, don't let our thoughts get into your head and let that be what you go into the movie thinking. Like, man, Juwaan said this was like an Oscar-winning movie, so I got that in my head. Like, no, just clear your brain, see it for yourself, and then come back here and let us know what you guys think. Thank you again, Tia, for joining me on this
Thank
review.
you.
Absolutely. And we will see you guys same time, same place next time. Till then, peace.